Hi, I'm Jim Penrod, the Executive Director of the American Association of Veterinary State Boards, or AAVSB. In this Vet Talk, I will present the role of the AAVSB in licensure, describe state licensure and the requirements to become licensed, outline the AAVSB Pave process to evaluate foreign education equivalents, and the remaining steps you will need to complete to become licensed in the United States. The AAVSB is the association of state and provincial regulatory boards that license veterinarians and veterinary technicians in North America. The AAVSB assists the member regulatory boards in setting model standards for veterinary medicine, providing professional development for the members of each state regulatory board, and providing services for boards that also benefit the profession, such as approving continuing education providers, providing a comprehensive database of licensed practitioners, and developing the examination to qualify veterinary technicians. The regulatory boards are typically comprised of veterinarians, veterinary technicians, and public members appointed by the government. Each state has its own licensure laws and regulates practice within the jurisdiction boundaries. The regulatory boards are also responsible for protecting the public by ensuring that licensees practice with skill and safety. The National Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners is a separate organization that develops and owns the North American Veterinary Licensing Examination, or NAVLE. The NAVLE is used by the veterinary regulatory boards as the licensing exam in the United States. The mission of the AAVSB is to support and advance the regulatory process for veterinary medicine. Our vision is to be the primary source for comprehensive information that strategically strengthens the veterinary regulatory community. We value protection of the public, being reliable and accurate, ethics and integrity, service excellence, active participation and collaboration, and stewardship of resources. The primary mission of every licensing board must focus on public protection, not on serving the interest of the professional group. Licensure boards establish qualifications or requirements for licensure, including license renewal, education, examination, character, and continuing education. They regulate over 97,000 licensed veterinarians in the United States and Canada. Licensing bodies respond to complaints from consumers and the profession regarding a veterinarian's competency, standard of care, and professional conduct. When you apply for a license, your board looks for two things. Do you have the special knowledge and skills to practice? And once licensed, are you maintaining your competency and ethical requirements? Each state is responsible for setting its own requirements for licensure. However, all states generally require a doctorate in veterinary medicine from an AVMA accredited college or university, or a certificate from the Pave or ECFEG programs. Each state requires that you pass the NAVLE and also determines professional fitness through a series of questions and sometimes a background investigation. The best way to understand the licensure process is to go to aavsb.org to look up the application requirements for each jurisdiction, as it is important to understand that each state has different laws and requirements. The AAVSB provides the Program for the Assessment of Veterinary Education Equivalents, or Pave, to evaluate the education equivalence of foreign veterinary graduates. The 4 steps to the Pave program are: 1. To apply and submit necessary documents in support of your application. 2. To demonstrate English proficiency, which is a requirement for licensure in the United States. 3. To take and pass the Qualifying Science Exam, or QSE. And 4. To complete a 4th-year program at an AVMA accredited college to complete clinical rotations designed to evaluate your clinical experience. The first step in the Pave program is to apply online at aavsb.org/pave. As part of the application process, you will be required to submit documentation of your birth, provide an affidavit for release of information, submit proof of your English proficiency, and documentation of your graduation or upcoming graduation from your current veterinary college or university. There are two ways to demonstrate English proficiency in the Pave process. First, you can complete an examination, either the TOEFL exam or the IELTS. Scoring requirements for these can be found on the AAVSB website. If you attended at least 3 years at a secondary high school under which the complete language of instruction was English, you can use this as an alternative to the examinations. Step 3 of the Pave program is to complete the Qualifying Science Examination, or QSE. This examination assesses your basic veterinary science proficiency. The QSE covers basic or preclinical subjects taught in the first 3 years of vet school and is offered in January, May, and September of each year. The QSE consists of 200 multiple-choice operational questions and 25 multiple-choice pilot questions derived from the test specifications. The QSE is delivered in a 220-minute, one single block session. The NAVLE, or North American Veterinary Licensing Examination, is a requirement for licensure to practice veterinary medicine in all licensing jurisdictions in North America. The NAVLE consists of 360 clinically relevant multiple-choice questions. The NAVLE is offered throughout North America and at certain overseas sites at computer testing centers operated by Prometric. The NAVLE is available during a 4-week testing window in November through December and a 2-week window in April. The NAVLE is owned and delivered by the National Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners, or NBVME. For specific examination-related questions such as scoring, content, etc., please visit the NBVME website. In order to be eligible for the NAVLE, the National Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners requires that Pave candidates have passed Step 3, the Qualifying Science Examination. All NAVLE applicants must be within 8 months of graduation at the time of the testing window. During the evaluated clinical experience, Pave candidates enroll in an AVMA-accredited veterinary college or university to complete the same clinical rotations as regularly enrolled students in the 4th year. The host veterinary school agrees to evaluate the Pave candidates the same as regular students and provide the Pave program with grade reports and verification forms. Pave candidates are responsible for setting up their evaluated clinical experience. Candidates apply directly to the college or university of their choice and pay the enrollment fees directly to that institution. Enrollment fees are set by each institution, so they vary from school to school. Fees are typically comparable to out-of-state tuition. The Pave program chose to utilize evaluated clinical experience rather than producing a clinical examination due to the added benefits as outlined here by a couple of Pave certificate holders. In order to qualify for a Pave certificate of completion, candidates must complete all 4 steps of the Pave program, submit all required documentation, and receive a final review by the Pave committee. When the Pave committee grants approval, a Pave certificate will be issued. Pave certificates do not expire. Once a candidate is Pave certified, it remains valid indefinitely. A Pave certificate is not a license to practice veterinary medicine in the United States. All Pave candidates must meet state license eligibility and pass the NAVLE before being eligible for licensure. Once you have received your Pave certificate and have passed the NAVLE, You can apply to the state of your choice for licensure. Each state has different laws and requirements and will require an application directly to them for licensure. You can find a link to each state's webpage on the AAVSB website. Should you have additional questions about the licensure process, please feel free to email us at aavsb@aavsb.org. Thank you, and we look forward to working with you in the future.